Sometimes, exploring means checking out a wonder of the ancient world which many people don't even know exists. I'm author and researcher Mike Luoma. This is the fifth largest pyramid in the world, the largest earthwork in North America. Like Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza, this has been designated a World Heritage Site by the UN. It's also a National Historic Landmark. This is the Great Mound at Cahokia, in southwestern Illinois, just across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. You can see the city and its arch from the top. The mound is 100 feet high. Covering about 14 acres, its footprint rivals that of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. About 21 million cubic feet of dirt went into its construction from about 900 AD to around 1250. Built by an urban agrarian culture we call the Mississippians. This hierarchical Native American society was more like Egypt under the Pharaohs than the stereotypical portrayals of nomadic wanderers we see in pop culture. Like the Pharaohs, the leader here seems to have been considered semi-divine, with powers tied to the sun. Likely home to 20,000 people at its peak, the population of the ancient city of Cahokia rivaled and may have surpassed those of contemporary European cities like London or Paris. The fence-like structure you see in front of this side of the Great Mound is a recreation of a stockade which ran around the Great Mound and the mounds of the Grand Plaza during the Middle to Late period. Cahokia had no significant enemies. There's no evidence of any contemporary threat to the great city. So this palisade, this stockade, was likely built to keep their own people at bay. A narrow gravel path now traces the position of the stockade around the mounds in the plaza. Many Mississippians were temple mound builders, constructing flat-topped mounds on which they placed elite dwellings, workshops, and ritual centers. It's likely the chief, the leader, would have lived atop the Great Mound. They built at least 120 mounds here at Cahokia. About 70 remain or were reconstructed. Many were plowed down for farmland and destroyed over time. Many mounds were lost as the American frontier pushed west. Cahokia's time seemed to have ended around 1400 AD. Though likely the descendants of its builders by the time Europeans arrived here, the Muskogee-speaking Creek, Chickasaw, and Choctaw shared little recollection of this city of mounds. This could have been deliberate deflection, of course, trying to keep a holy place from desecration by the new interlopers. But they seemed quite detached from this likely work of their ancestors. French monks briefly occupied the top of the Great Mound in the early 1800s. We can thank them for the name commonly given to the Earthen Pyramid, Monk's Mound. Monk's Mound was surrounded by plazas, each of which was in turn surrounded by more mounds. The Grand Plaza, to the south of Monk's Mound, is the largest here at Cahokia, deliberately leveled by the mound builders. The twin mounds, thought to be a mortuary complex, dominate the southern side of the Grand Plaza, just about opposite Monk's Mound. Two mounds are found on the Grand Plaza itself. Four smaller mounds dot the eastern side. Another large mound is found on the northwest corner of the Grand Plaza. South of the Twin Mounds, we find the unassuming Mound 72. Extensive archaeological work here has shown this burial mound contains several mass graves, as well as evidence of ritual killing. This serene green mound provided evidence of a bloody, ritualistic burial process, likely involving mass human sacrifice and entire households killed and buried with their elite masters. Elite burials here include a young man and woman laid to rest on a bed of shells. A bit to the west of Mound 72, we find these smaller twins. That's just my name for them. Very little information is given on Mounds 67 and 68. The mounds to the east of Monk's Mound seem to have suffered more agricultural degradation than others on the site. To the west of Monk's Mound, we find more intact mounds. Including the Marrow Mound, Mound 42. One of the largest and best preserved here, and unique, with an oval platform mound built into its southwest corner. To the west, past these mounds, they found evidence of several circles of wooden posts. And the post holes indicate these were ancient astronomical observatories. The posts lined up with significant risings and settings of the sun, moon, and stars. They've recreated one of the circles, so we can get an idea of how they used this space. It didn't take long to realize they would have been watching the sunrise over Monk's Mound from here. A not-so-subtle reminder of the leadership hierarchy for the Skywatchers. I've been wanting to visit Cahokia since first reading of Monk's Mound years ago. The 5th largest pyramid in the world, right here. Just about smack dab in the middle of the USA, and built by an advanced, urban, Native American civilization. It's incredible, really. It's also kind of incredible that this is one of the best kept secrets in American history. Very few people knew what I meant when I told them I was going to Cahokia. Where? What's that? Now, you know. I'm Mike Luoma. Thank you for experiencing Cahokia with me.